out of.
No, the reproductive
It's
technology that
kind of-
feminists push are prophylactics and abortion and birth control. They are not pushing technology at all to increase the birth rate. In fact, you, by your own admission seconds ago, just admitted that if there was a national push, a patriotic national push in government propaganda telling you that you needed to become pregnant for the future of the nation, you would resist it, and so would all feminists. But at the same time, out of the other side of your mouth, you make the bold claim that you're really secretly pushing for the technology so that we would have reproduction. Your social policies, which you have pushed so that women can stay at home, have been an abysmal failure. They have not worked. You've given them longer times in these more socialist nations of having, time off of work after they have children. Everything that you can imagine inside of these social safety nets, it has not worked to stop the decline.
So I'm not making a claim for myself. You're the person who's saying that this decrease in birth rates is a huge issue. So that's why I'm asking you. So what I believe isn't really important to this. So that's why I'm asking you, would you support?
You did make a claim. You made a claim that if there was a patriotic, I know you're talking to Spurging, but you did make a claim. I'm going to correct this because you made a claim.
Very quickly. Andrew, reply. Silver Rose, reply. Keep it quick.
You did make a claim. Your claim was here.
Hang on, Silver.
Calm down. Stop spurging.
Wait. Okay.
Stop spurging.
Andrew, keep it within 20 seconds.
Stop spurging.
Silver, hang on 1
You're
second.
still spurging.
20 seconds for Andrew, and then reply, Silver. Go, please.
Okay,
what I believe is irrelevant.
Okay,
Silver. 20 seconds for Andrew, and then you'll get the equivalent time to reply. I'll probably let you just keep going, actually. No, but you have to, if you don't defer, then it's going to be just a yelling match. There's going to be no clarity. No one's going to understand what you're talking about because you're both talking over each other.
So anyway, you did make multiple claims. You said that the reproductive technologies are going to be pushed towards the increase in birth rates. That's what feminists support. You did make that claim. You also made the bold claim that you yourself would not support any type of national messaging for women to become pregnant for the health of the nation. So you're speaking out of both sides of your mouth.
Okay, so I'll make two claims. First of all, I don't personally think the decline in birth rate is as cataclysmic as you're claiming. I think there's, but so what I'm answering is your claim that the decline in birth rate is a huge and pressing issue. That is why I am pointing out that there are policies. That's why I would like to ask you: do you support? So there's policies like, for example, IVF and freezing eggs. These policies would lead to an increase in birth rate because, for example, freezing eggs, that leads to decreasing the timeline.
They don't work.
And have kids because, again, one of the reasons why women are having fewer children is because women are more likely to get educated, to have jobs that they're delaying and they're delaying having kids. So obviously,
in their fertile years.
Yes, exactly. So obviously, technology that would more now there is these technologies, but they're very expensive and they're not the most efficient. But there's being moved in those technologies. So obviously, investment in these technologies, subsidization of these technologies, for example, freeze eggs so that women who are in their 40s can have kids, would obviously lead to an increase in birth rate in the modern West.
Do you want me to answer? Right, you can't make too many points because you're gish galloping. I can't answer to them. Okay, so starting with point one, no, these technologies don't work. They don't seem to reverse any of these trends. They don't even tend to slow them down. So when you're talking about IVF, specifically in Israel, that is matched with a national patriotic campaign for young Israeli women to get married as soon as possible so that they can combat their enemies of the state. You have already stated that you would not be for any such patriotic messaging inside of these Western nations. You've already said that by your own admission, and neither would feminists. No, the technologies do not work. Giving 40-year-olds IVF might lead to one child, maybe, but they have to be impregnated many times. It's highly expensive. There's no guarantee of success. Young women, young fertile women are who you want to be pregnant, not old 35, 40-year-old women. That affects the health and welfare of the child anyway. It's the worst policy I can think of. You would want to see the reversing of the trend where young women and young men were getting married and having children while they were young. That's a recipe for success for the health of your nation.
Okay, so what? Yes, okay. So the reason now, so as you're the one that's saying that in Israel, IVF is one of the reasons why there's not a decreased birth rate. You're saying coupled, but it's IVF coupled with what you're saying is propaganda or whatever. So I'm sure some of this is true. I haven't looked into it. So this is not to talk about Israel specifically. But what I'm saying is
that was your example.
you're the one that made the claim that IVF helped. And
yeah, that was your example.
Then we can appeal. I know you don't like common sense, but we can appeal to common sense. So one of the reasons why
you can't appeal to common sense.
One of these reasons that yes, it's called logic. So one of these reasons.
No, logic is not common sense.
Here, hang on. Allow Silver Rose to make her argument.
One of these reasons why egg fertilization now hasn't reversed trends is, as you're saying, it's extremely expensive. We're at the beginning of these technologies. However, obviously, if the government invested in these technologies, and again, I'm not the one. So what I think you're misunderstanding is, I'm not saying I would support this initiative. What I'm saying is, since you're the one who thinks that this is a huge issue, the decline in birth rate is a huge issue, I'm asking you, would you support the government investing in technologies like making it cheaper? Because you said the reason why these aren't going to decrease the trend of declining birth rate is because, one, I heard you say it's too expensive, and two, some of it is not effective enough. So you could obviously, the government could subsidize to make it cheaper. So those are some of my questions. I'm asking you, would you support it?
Yeah, Andrew, reply, please.
Okay, so first of all, it is a fallacy to appeal to common sense on multiple levels. There's multiple fallacies which can be cited, including an appeal to incredulity. Just saying that, oh, it's common sense would be an appeal to incredulity. It also would lead to an argument ad populum, because you're saying if it's common sense, most people believe it. That is not an appeal to any type of authority. You're just appealing to yourself at that point. You're not even making an argument. That's one. Two, no, I would not support these policies because they don't work. I've just given you example after example after example of these socialist nations who have such social safety nets and are investing heavily in reproductive technologies, and they are not leading to the trends being reversed. They cannot even stabilize them. Even in the best of these socialist nations are having trouble even stabilizing it. And if they do, it's still under replacement rates. So no, I don't think so. In fact, hang on, increased maternal age, raising maternal mortality. It's a completely bad idea. Here's why. Rates increased. Rates for non-Hispanic Black women were significantly higher than rates for non-Hispanic women. The increase in 2019 for 2020 for non-Hispanic Blacks, Hispanic were significantly the observed increase when it came to birth defects in this age group. Rates were, with maternal age, rates in 2020, 8.8 deaths per 100,000 live births for women under the age of 25. For those 25 to 39, 107.9 for those age 40 plus. That is a massive increase. So you're right away, I can tell you the solutions that I would invest in. I would try to invest in doing a patriotic program that would convince women to remove themselves from the workforce so that men can have a working wage to support them, which is what we used to do. It worked fantastically well. In this particular case, too, young women then who are the most fertile can begin to reproduce. Also, they seem to be happier when they don't have to have all these maddening responsibilities where you see their mental health and everything else is on the decline. So no, I don't agree that just moving towards reproductive technologies is in any way, shape, or form going to solve this problem. We've already been doing it, and it has not worked anywhere that it's been tried. Nowhere.
Okay, so what I'll answer is, when I meant appeal to common sense, maybe I should have said appeal to logic. So you think about it for 2 seconds.
Then give me the logical argument.
Think about it for 2 seconds. For one of the reasons why women in Western societies are having less kids is because less children is because they're delaying fertility. So a technology, if it was cheaper and more efficient, the reason is if we're on the beginning stages of the technology, so this hasn't caused massive changes. But with subsidization, this would be an effective way. And in fact, this is a more direct link. So there's a more direct link when we're talking about Western societies between subsidizing technologies that, for example, freeze eggs, and thus is leading to women having more children in their early 40s, for example. Then there is between getting.
So hang on. Can I do one point at a time?
Then there is. If we think about it, so there is a clear causal link. That's
no. It's not even a strong. It's not even a strong correlate.
Okay, hang on. Silver Rose, try to wrap this up in like 20 seconds, and then Andrew's going to reply.
There's at least as good of a link between that and between getting rid of women's right to vote, which is what this is a debate about, because we're defining feminism as political.
No, it's not.
Right, because women want on average, before women wanted on average more kids than men did. Now it's maybe.
Okay, can we stop so I can go back to the first point? so that you don't just gish gallop me to death like you've been trying to do? Can we do one
You
point at a
gish
time?
gallop like crazy in your previous
I haven't been gish galloping. I've been refuting each point that you have made as they have been coming up. So let's move back to this. You continuously you make this bold claim that you are appealing to logic, and appealing to logic, you have logically been able to use inductive reasoning to state that if we have this technology, that suddenly this problem is going to be solved or the trend is going to be reversed. That's actually illogical, because we can see in the places where they have the same social policies that you want to implement, the birth rate is not climbing. It's not even stabilizing. It's continuing to move itself down, because it's illogical for you to say that you want to invest in technology which will increase the birth rate, while at the same time saying every woman should have unfettered access to birth control and abortions. That's illogical. It's a contradiction. You're literally pushing for technologies which remove the ability of women to conceive, while at the same time saying you want to invest in technologies that will make them conceive. It's insane. That's illogical. Makes no sense. Why would you go for both of those technologies?
So my claim is there's lots of different factors that lead to the decline in birth rate. So my claim is we are at the beginning of these reproductive technologies. My claim is just that there's a clear causal arrow, and in fact, you're the one that said, to some extent, we can maybe see this, and to some extent, Israel, which has higher IVFs. Also, again, I'm saying that now they're extremely expensive. These technologies are extremely expensive, very rarely used. So if they were more affordable, there's a clear causal link where it could lead to an increase in birth rate.
Got it. So let me respond to this.
One thing.
Hang on. We'll move past it, but let me respond to the point.
Yeah.
What you just said also is illogical. Right now, would you say that birth control is a lot less expensive than these technologies which are pro-reproduction?
Right now, birth control is.
Okay, so then the anti-natalist technology is actually far cheaper than the pro-natalist technology. So this would mean that if it's a cheaper resource and more people have access to it due to the fact that it's inexpensive, if you push both of these technologies simultaneously, don't you think that people will move towards the more inexpensive tech?
That doesn't make any sense. The point is, yes.
How does that not make any sense? Answer my question.
I will explain why this does not make any sense. So
okay.
So now, again, one of the reasons contraception is widely used is because it's so cheap.
That's right.
It is widely accessible. Today, technologies like freezing eggs are extremely expensive. Why it's not used. What I'm saying is, in the future, if we subsidize it, if the government helps,
when your population's dead.
Let her finish her point.
Okay.
Advancements in, for example, those technologies that are pro-reproductive, like freezing eggs, will become cheaper. Okay,
so let's examine this. So right this second, if you're pushing both technologies, you just admitted that people will go for the more inexpensive technology, which in this case is anti-natalist. Yes, you did. You literally just said that. You literally just said that. You said in some far off future, hopefully this technology, which you don't even know if it's ever going to work correctly, hopefully that technology will be advanced enough that we can make it cheap enough that people will move towards that instead of the birth control prophylactics and things like this, which prevent pregnancy. This is it's again not using logic at all. There's no reason for us to assume that these technologies will become cheaper. There's no reason for us to assume for a second that people by and large will move towards them. There's no reason to assume that even if they did, that it would actually increase the population to the point where it could reproduce itself. There's no reason for us to make any of those assumptions. Everywhere this type of thing is tried, it fails. However, this inexpensive prophylactic and birth control technology, which is extremely inexpensive, they move right towards. In fact, it's free for most people.
Okay, so again, my claim wasn't the relative rates. My claim is that the reason why now people aren't freezing their eggs more is literally because it's so expensive. So if it becomes more affordable, people would use it more. Obviously, even if birth control is still cheaper, obviously people aren't just like choosing one or other because one is cheaper. They still have desires. And one of the reasons you might assume this is because women on average are reporting that they would like to have more kids than they end up having. So it is logical to assume, and many women, indeed, as the manosphere red pill people love to talk about, are delaying fertility and seem to want to have more kids in their
that's really strange. They want to have more children, but you want them to wait until later in life to start having the children when they're going to have the least amount of them. Brilliant.
I'm obsessed with fertility. I'm not even particularly.
Yes, because it's part of the feminist agenda to destroy the family unit. Yes.
I think there's a clear there's a clear causal story. However, I would like to say it's this way. Your solution is, for example, getting rid of so feminism we're defining here is political equality. Men are not more men are just as pro contraception than women are. Men in many ways are more pro sexual liberation than women are. So it's not clear to me why removing political rights to women would have a causal link.
It's not clear to me that what you just said is true. It seems to me that most men are banking towards the right side, and the trend is that they're moving towards voting more and more to the right side. Also, as this trend continues, I have no reason to assume that as these men try to move towards virtue, that they are not going to move more towards a traditional lifestyle, because it seems like that's what they want. When they're polled, that's what they say they want. You see the political trends moving towards that for men. When you're talking about female egalitarianism, when it comes to voting, you have to understand the nuance to my position is not just that women should not be able to vote, but that most people should not be able to vote, that it's bad for the system in general if they do. That is the position that I've always stated and always had. A necessary entailment of that would probably be the repealing of the 19th, but it would affect men as well. Most men also would not be able to vote under a system which I would advocate for. And the reason for that is because most people are not equipped to make these types of decisions in voting.
Okay, can I answer? Okay, so first of all, the reason more men are moving to the right, I think is quite clear, is because of the increasing social libertarianism of the right, not the social conservatism.
Prove it.
Women are more religious than men.
They're not. They just self-ID more, but they're not more religious.
Okay. It's because of the Andrew Tates of the world, and including the Donald Trumps, who are a kind of, let's say, barstool conservatism. So it's an opposition to, in many ways, what they perceive as the Puritanism of the left. So if anything, it's an opposition to like the Me Too movement, which was in many ways.
Oh, okay. So it's more tradition. So it's a move more toward tradition.
Yes.
And anti-feminist.
It's anti-feminist, as in it's pro-hookup culture, and it's annoyed.
No, it's not pro-hookup culture.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Show me the proof. Show me the evidence that that's true. You're just making it up. The political trends for this in particular, men have always, by the way, moved more towards the right than women have. Always. That's always been the trend. Yes, it has, even long before this kind of red pill move. Yes, they always have moved more towards the right. Yes, they have. I'm sorry.
Women in the U.S. used to be more socially, and around the world, especially in Christian nations, used to be more socially conservative men. And even if you think, for example,
what were the years? What were the years?
Literally until recently.
Literally, that's not true. You're just making shit up.
Hang on. Let her finish her sentence a little bit.
This has been a worldwide trend. So it's really interesting is if you look at some of the texts of like the French Revolution, a lot of the men there who were radicals, they were very against. They were very against women having the right to vote.
When did the French Revolution happen?
Because they were saying that, yes, I'm saying more recently. These are trends that have happened.
That's not recent. When was the French Revolution?
I'm not saying that's more recent.
Then why would you bring it up as your example? What are you talking about?
I'm giving okay. The reason is because women were more religious at that time. To show this is not because you're claiming that women were always more. You said always. Women were always more religious than men. Men were more conservative. You said
they always move more conservative in voting political trends in modernity. Yes,
very quickly. Silver Rose, quickly in 20 seconds, try to make your point and then end your reply, and then we're hitting the last 10 minutes. So if we want to adjust course for the last 10 minutes,
we can do closing statements after this. Yeah,
you can look at any stat. Women used to be more socially conservative conservative than men. This is true worldwide. Another point I would like
before they could vote, like in the French Revolution.
No, after they could vote until the 60s. Okay, well, you guys are you're wrong.
Okay, hang on, Andrew. Don't laugh.
All right.
Let her finish her point.
It's so funny that you're making fun of me when this is something anybody in the audience can Google. Like Google historic voting patterns. This is like hilarious, actually. It's like hilarious.
Is it like hilarious?
Yes, it's like
okay. I think it's hilarious.
Another question I would like to point is you're saying you don't support democracy. So I would like to ask, because you were saying, what country is a country that is not democratic, where the right to vote, where like most people don't have the right to vote, that you think is better than
this country is not a democracy.
Yes, okay, that's one of the most politically ignorant things to say. It's a republic. Yes, that's not what they meant by republic or democracy. But okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's not what they meant. Was everybody allowed to vote when we had this republic founded?
Okay, but that's not what.
Answer my question. Was everybody allowed to vote when the republic was founded?
Okay, the reason I was
answer my question. Was everyone allowed to vote? Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
Okay, hang on.
ignorant is because a republic.
Answer the question, dude. Stop pivoting. Answer the question, just yes or no, and then I'll let you can respond after you answer.
See, goddamn, this is
at the founding. At the founding of the republic, was everyone allowed to vote?
No. So
were most people allowed to vote?
No. Did you think that?
Okay, that's right.
Do you think that would be better? So do you think black people should be allowed to vote?
No, I didn't say that.
I said no first.
That's not even an entailment of my position. Well, you said it's the most ignorant thing I've ever heard. Here's your speed meth destiny talk. Okay, so this is totally insane. I don't understand because this has always been a democracy. And then I say, wait a second, it's not a democracy, it's a republic. You say, no, this is one of the most politically ignorant things that I've ever heard. Okay, well then if we move back to the founding of the nation, and I ask you when the republic was founded, could everyone vote? No. Oh, okay, well then that's it.
You're conflating 2 points. So the reason I was saying it was ignorant is saying that a republic is in opposition to democracy. A republic is just a system of government that's not a monarchy. It has nothing to do with if it's
democracy. Does not entail everybody can vote.
The other point that I was making is I asked you, what society do you think is better than the society today in terms of a society where not everybody had the right to vote? So society with more restricted voting power. You pointed to America like at the founding. So then that's why
I didn't point to. Wait. No, that's a total straw man of my position.
Okay, so
you did not ask. Hang on, stop. You did not ask me that question, and I did not respond by pointing to America. What happened is I said this is a republic, not a democracy, and you said that's one of the most politically ignorant things that I've ever heard. It's not. It's true. And then I said, if that's true, then could everybody at the founding vote? No. Could most people vote? No. So I don't understand. It seems like the intent of the republic was not to have unfettered democracy, lady.
Okay, so Silver, I'm going to hang on, Silver. I'm the moderator. You're not debating me. Okay, I'm going to reframe Andrew's question to you, and before we get into closing statements, I'll let Andrew reply after. Can you explain why Andrew's statement is ignorant in your view?
What the statement? So first of all, I would like to point out that he did not answer. The question I was asking him was, so he's saying that he supports restricting not everybody having the right to vote. So I asked him, what country does he think is not it has restricted voting power, which he thinks is better than the U.S. Like, what is this based on? Okay, so now I will answer what he's saying. So what I think is baseless is just that this is like a kind of trite thing that people will say. And what the statement U.S. is not a republic, it is a democracy. Oh, it's not a democracy, it's a republic. What this presupposes is that republics are in opposition to democracy, like a republic can be a democracy. That is not in fact true. A republic is just a system of government that's not a monarchy. And whether it's the the U.S. can be both a democracy and both a republic. It is true that at the founding of America, the U.S. was not a pure democracy. However, compared to other countries worldwide, it was one of the most democratic systems for its time.
So what? So to respond to all this meth prattle directly, so what? No, I did not say that having democratic systems inside of a republic was in any way contrary to having a republic. I told you this is not a pure democracy, and it was never intended to be a pure democracy. It was never intended to be entailed by everybody voting for systems of government. That was never the intent. At its founding, you've admitted that was not the case. There's no reason for me to assume that our founders wanted everybody to vote. They most certainly did not. And there was a reason that they had specific criteria for who could vote. And what they were looking at for the specific criteria of who could or could not vote was if they had stake in the game. Much better system. Under a republic, the entailment is not that you have a pure democracy. So to say that this is a democracy is insanity. It's never been a democracy. What's happened is there's been a push by feminist egalitarian lunatics to make sure that even 18-year-old dumbasses can vote and negate the vote of people who are in their 40s and 50s who actually know what the hell they're talking about.
Okay, so I would like to put 2 points. So you're saying that you're pointing to the U.S. at the founding as a better system than it is than the U.S. now. That is why I think it is fair for me to ask you different questions. So one of them is, that's why I think it's legitimate for me to ask you, do you support Black people having the right to vote?
All right, very quickly, I'm so sorry, Silver. We were supposed to actually get to closing statements by this point, and as much as I would love, because this is entirely my style of debate, I think we need to move to closing statements. I'm certain this will come up as audience members come in to chat. Yeah. So,
okay.
She
opened first. So generally they close last. They get the last word. That seems to be fair.
Andrew, What do you want? 7 minutes, 5 minutes? What did you guys agree on?
Well, I'll only take a few minutes, usually 7 minutes for the closer.
All right, we'll do 7.
But I'll make it somewhat brief for the purpose of time constraint. So, first and foremost, she never made a good argument, pro-feminist argument at all. In fact, she contradicted herself multiple times. She says that if the birth rate is a crisis which was caused by feminism, no problem, technology will solve it. When pushed on the issue, all the countries that push this technology and push the incentives that she herself demands that they push, it does not reverse the trend. On top of that, she spoke out of the other side of her mouth. She wants prophylactics, abortion, to be widely available, says it's completely inexpensive, says that people will gravitate towards that more than these technologies because of how inexpensive they are. So, right off the gate, by her own logic, you're going to have an uptick in the population going down. That's what's going to happen. It's an entailment of what she's advocating for. Not only that, a few other points that we can get to. She's contradicted herself multiple times in this debate. Another such contradiction is when she looks at the foundational principles of these nations. She says, no, patriarchy is bad. However, in these patriarchal nations, they seem to be reproducing. In the non-patriarchal nations, they seem to not be reproducing. When she pushes in her feminist policies, again, does not in any way, shape, or form reverse these trends. She made bold claims about people being born gay, but she could not back up any of those claims. Instead, she just used a kind of basic rhetorical device, which is, well, could you be gay if you chose to? Which means nothing. Even if I said no, it still wouldn't prove her position. She's appealed multiple times to multiple fallacies, including the argument from incredulity and an argument ad populum. She has not made a good case, in fact, for any of her positions. She goes on to state that I was ignorant that this is indeed a democracy. And then when we move back to the founding, she says, well, no, I guess not. It actually is a republic, and it was not entailed to be a pure democracy, which is what her claims were. In fact, she's just kind of contradicted herself over and over and over and over. She's offered no solutions for reproduction inside of these nations absent immigration, while also admitting that if you have mass migration, it'll ultimately destroy the cultures inside of these nations because they can't reproduce themselves. So other people will bring their cultures in. And what'll end up happening, of course, is after people who bring in those cultures reproduce over whatever the general population is, you will end up with a brand new culture inside that nation. Obviously, I don't think that that's the intent of most of these nations. She goes on to say that reproductive technology is somehow in the future going to be sophisticated enough to take care of these problems, advocates that women in their 40s have children instead of just moving back to a more traditional system where women can stay at home and not have the burden of these types of things and be miserable. So over and over again, she contradicted herself. I don't feel like she made any good arguments that which were pro-feminism and anti-patriarchy, not a single good argument. In fact, I was able to refute her point by point by point by point. All she did was meth prattle the entire debate. We barely even got anywhere in the debate, and I wish that we could have, but I still enjoyed it anyway, and thank her for